Filthy, filthy, filthy. Oh no, don't tell me that. Don't tell me there's a nut on the backside of that thing, really. What a farting pain.
What's that?
I didn't say anything. Okay. Come on. Oh, you sorry. You know what? Ow, that hurt. Come on, are you kidding me? You got to be kidding me. Everything I touch is so filthy. Today on M&W Garage, I show you how to put in one motor mount and say the other one. Oh man. Oh my God. Son of a Houston, we have a problem. I told myself I would never buy another Jeep, and I did anyway. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Before I begin the video, I would like to say thanks to everyone who's been subscribing. Thanks to everyone who's been watching. I really appreciate it. I've been trying to hopefully get to 400 subscribers before the end of the year. Don't know if that'll happen, but you know, hey, I still got way more than I expected to whenever I first started this little journey out. Let me begin by saying, to get to this point here, you probably would want to watch the entire video all the way through because I made a few mistakes. I'm used to working on lifted Jeeps. This one's not lifted. Yours may not be. So there were quite a few hurdles that I wasn't expecting. So anyway, watch the video, then come back and reference if you're doing this job again. So let's get on with the video. Today we're going to be going over how to replace the rear main seal in a Jeep Grand Cherokee with the 5.2 V8. This procedure is similar to an XJ with the 4.0 or a ZJ with the 4.0. The basics of the process are going to be the same. The process of getting to the rear main seal is going to be a little bit different. It's really not all that difficult, so let's dive in. All right, right off the bat, you're going to see something that's probably different from yours. Someone cut the catalytic converter off of this thing before I bought it, so it makes it easier for me to take the exhaust off, but the first thing you need to do is get the exhaust out of the way. So with your application, you're probably going to want to support the transfer case and take the transmission cross member off. That way you can take the head pipes loose from the exhaust manifolds and just drop everything down in one big swoop. But with me, I'm going to take it apart right here so I can so I don't have to take all this part off. So remember earlier when I said I wasn't going to have to take this off? I was wrong. So at least you guys get to see the whole deal. So come on. Come on. There we go. There we are. Whew. All right. All right, now we've got full access to all of the oil pan bolts. Got the exhaust out of the way. We'll have to snake it around the transmission lines here a little bit, but that won't be too big of an issue. But I think I'm done for tonight. I'm going to come back over here tomorrow and go ahead and pop the pan off, so I'll just let it drain overnight, make sure everything's out of it. And I'll catch you in the next clip. Oh boy. Oh boy, this is going to be fun. Are you kidding me now? Have I got to do that too? Finally. Whew. All right, guys, it's been a couple of days since I've worked on the Jeep. It really started getting, really getting to me, because I mean, it seemed like everything I touched was just covered with grease and oil, and it got to where I just didn't even want to mess with it anymore. This oil pan is just as nasty on the outside as it is on the inside, so I brought it home to my little parts washer here, and I'm going to clean it out. I really need to take this thing to the shop, and I'll probably do that after this little project's done. Probably take it and clean it out and put some fresh cleaner in it and then take it over to the shop. But anyway, let's get this oil pan cleaned up. Let this be a lesson for you guys that before you start doing this job, just go on ahead and do what you can to clean the mess up under the vehicle, because you're going to be touching it, you're going to be all over it, and it's going to get all over you. It got all over me, all over my clothes, all over the floor. I tracked it around everywhere. Everything I touched, and I went and touched my camera, then my camera's got it, my tripod's got grease all over it. So I mean, it's just do yourself a favor, wash it somehow to get all the junk off of it before you get started, and it'll make your life a lot easier. So let's dive in. Didn't get that flange very well. I'll hit it with a little brake clean, it'll be fine. Okay, it's not perfect, but perfectly usable. All right, now that we got the oil pan cleaned off, let's get to this inspection cover, or access panel, or whatever. I think I called it both earlier in the video, but it's really greasy and nasty too, so let's get this cleaned off, and I think we'll be ready to start replacing the rear main seal and then buttoning this thing back up. I think we're going to call that good, because it's a lot better than what it was. Uh-oh. And you can just see the oil stain where the rear main was leaking. It looks like the oil pan gasket was leaking a little bit right there too. All right, that's acceptable. We'll take that. Well, where all that water's coming from? Ugh. Okay. All right, guys. We are back at the shop, and I am going to go ahead and do what I should have done a while ago and get this track bar completely out of the way. While I've got it all apart, I'm going to go ahead and take the opportunity to put in the Ironman 4x4 fab engine mounts, because I mean, if you look right here, I've got very easy access to everything. So I mean, right now is the best time to do it. So I'm never going to have a better opportunity to do it than now. So plus this engine mount here is worn out anyway. It's torn. Motor jumps up and down when I get down on the throttle. So let me get this track bar completely out of the way, and then we'll start taking that motor mount out and replace it with the good stuff.
You want to grab some?
Grab you a paper towel.
You put my gloves on?
Or that rag. I wouldn't use your gloves, baby. Your gloves are gonna get ruined. I'm gonna have to throw these away when I'm done.
What
Grab
rag?
that red rag right there that's on the engine stand. All right. Just throw it on the floor, and I'll get it. Okay, now that that's out of the way, and I'm going to do myself a favor and take Wendy's advice, and we're going to drape a blanket over all this nastiness, because I am really getting sick of touching this filthy thing. Man, I wish I could step into the future and watch this video and take my own advice and wash everything off, but you know, hey, it is what it is. Just take my advice earlier in this video and clean all this mess off before we start working on it. All right, we're just going to support the front of the motor here so I can take that engine mount loose. See that? See how freely that moves? This rubber stays still. That motor mount is junk. You're not going to believe this, but this is covered with grease too. So, all right, there's that one. Okay, now I need to take 4 bolts off to release that motor mount in its entirety. 18 millimeter. Okay, let me get around to the back side there. There we go. Well, I guess that's the way it goes, huh? All right, well, that's better. That actually will make it easier, thank goodness. So let me hang this up by the bolt here. Yeah, that'll be better. That'll be easier anyway, for sure. Got a lot more access in there. Yeah, here's the factory mount. You can see it was just totally trashed. So every time that I would get down on the throttle, the engine would rear up like that on one side and slam back down. So yeah, we want something a little bit more substantial now, so that's what we're putting in. There we are. Uh-oh. Take my little pecker and knock it in. There we go. All righty, come on, come on, come on. Do the thing. There we go. All right, so let's just snug this one down. Uh-oh. Okay. Yeah, I'll do the transmission mount later. I've also got a transmission mount to go in this thing to complete the whole set. So you really don't want to have like stiff motor mounts and a soft transmission mount, or vice versa. Anyway, I just know you're supposed to replace them with all light components. So that's what we're doing. Let me get the little pecker back out again. Wendy doesn't get garage humor. Okay, let's see here.
Not that I don't get it. It's just, you know, you're making yourself sound, you know.
What?
Less than.
Make myself sound what?
Less than.
Less than?
Yeah.
Well, you can't take yourself too seriously in this in this line of work.
I'm just saying, you're making yourself sound like you got a little pecker.
Oh, well, I do got a little pecker. Right here. All right. I don't know what kind of pecker you're thinking about anyway, because, you know, this is a pecking tool. Peck, peck, peck. So get your mind out of the gutter.
You're a man. Y'all are always in the gutter.
Hoo, hoo, hoo. Anyway. Oh boy. Whew. Well, this one is just gonna
What?
be a nightmare. I'm about to start cussing here
I got it.
in a minute. Absolutely ridiculous.
So the F-bomb's not cussing?
No,
Okay.
that's just me. No.
As you're warming up, you're
That's
about to
right.
start cussing.
Yeah.
Did you get it?
I turned a little bit.
Woo! You got something off.
Yay.
It's a victory, babe. It's
Yep.
a little more accomplished.
What's that Derek says? That was easy. Oh boy. Okay. All right. So those are installed. What a pain that was. So anyway, but it'll be totally worth it. I won't ever have to replace them again. This is where it's a little bit different from a 4-liter, because on a 4-liter, the oil pump is over on the passenger side, kind of in the middle of the block, right up under the distributor. And on the 318 5.9, it's right here in the back, so we had to take the oil pump off first before we can get to the rear main caps. Or the rear main cap, rather, let me say that. Let's get the little pecker again. There we are. You'll see right here, this is the rear main cap, rear main bearing. I need to clean that off. Not too much wear on there. But this is half of the rear main seal. And while that part is still a little bit pliable, it's been leaking pretty bad, so it is a little bit stiff. So we're gonna replace that, and I'll show you how to get the piece out of the block here. Alright guys, I really don't know where we're at in the video, to be honest with you. It's been quite a few days since I've worked on this thing. Honestly, I've just been lazy. Hadn't really wanted to work on it that much anyway, but we really need to get it done. I'd like to take this thing off-road sometime before I go putting suspension stuff on it. And we're not going to be able to do that unless I get it put back together. We were going to go on a ride tomorrow, but weather looks like it's going to keep the park from opening. Plus, the other guys that was going to go, they had other things come up. And honestly, if it was going to be a wet, muddy mess, I wasn't going to go, because I don't want to get this thing dirty and muddy and all that just to have to come in here and work on it and have dirt falling all in my eyes and all of that. So where we are at right now, I tore the new rear main seal putting it in because I didn't do what I was supposed to do when I was putting it in, and I got in a hurry and I tore it. So that was a $22 mistake. So I got another one, and I'm going to go ahead and we're going to put that in, which is, it kind of works out because we didn't have really good footage of me putting the other one in anyway. I was kind of grouchy that day, as you can see at the very first of this video.
Kinda.
But anyway, I'm in a much better working mood right now. So let's get this thing put in and get this thing put back together. All right, we'll get our rear main cap put in our clean room here, and we'll get the old, well, I say the old, this is actually a brand new seal, but since I tore it, I want to take it out. I just didn't want to risk doing this job and when I have to come back and redo the whole thing again. I mean, I'm already got it this far apart. You might as well just go ahead and do it right. I mean, even if it costs you a little bit more money, it's for the peace of mind. It was worth it for me. So let me get the sealant off of it, and all right, we got that all cleaned up. Let's get our new seal. Don't lose this little piece. We'll show you what that's for in a minute. Now these seal halves are the same on both sides, so it doesn't matter, but you'll want to put the thick lip facing inward. Because if you'll look closely, there's a thick lip and a thin lip. I don't know if you guys can see that in the camera or not, but this thick side should go in toward the bearing. Same with when you put it in the motor up there. Put just a little bit of sealant on there. Don't need a lot. Just a little. Smear it around. Oh, yeah. And let's go over here and we will show you how to get the seal out of the block. Let's see, you see, I'm sure you can see the seal right here. You want to push it around and you'll see it start coming out of this side. Careful, don't nick that sealing surface. And reach up there with your pliers and work it out. And you'll have to go along the radius of that sealing surface because that seal will not bend because it's got a stiff piece of wire in it. There we are. That's what we're trying to get out. It's got a messed up spot right there. There it is. There's where it's torn. Yeah, I'm glad that I went ahead and replaced this because that probably would have wound up leaking on me. Now, what we'll do here with our other half of the new seal is we'll put a little bit of assembly lube on it to let it slide easier. Get it on both sides. You want it on the sealing surface and I say the sealing, it's a sealing surface all the way around. You want to get it on the top and the bottom. How about that? That better? That make more sense? That way it doesn't start up dry. So just go ahead and get it all lubered up. I'm going to set that right there. That's clean-ish. Yeah. Now, let's go over to the car real quick and I'm going to show you something. Now, what I did wrong the other day was I just took this rear main cap off up here, I just took it off and tried to jam the new seal in there. Well, there's two things wrong with what I was doing. Number one, the first seal I bought was just a cheapie from Amazon, and it didn't come with this little piece of plastic that I showed you a while ago. So I tried to jam it in there, and that's why it tore. It was a combination of me not having this piece, and I also did not loosen up the other mains here and here to let the crankshaft droop just ever so slightly. You don't want it to like bow down. You just want to give it just a little bit more clearance. So when you put that seal in there, you're not having to shove it in there and wind up cutting it.
You don't have to fight it as hard.
Exactly. You don't have to fight it as hard. Listen to the woman. Okay, guys, I'm going to try to work around this camera best I can. I can't guarantee that I won't get in your way. Can't guarantee that I won't bump you around, but I'm going to try. Okay, remember what I said about the seal a while ago? The thick lip goes this way. So let me make sure I got that. So, yes, this way. Now, that piece of plastic that I was talking about, you're going to want to slip it up into the groove where the seal goes. Oh, that's not it. It's right there. Okay. And what that's going to do is it's going to keep you from cutting the seal on that sharp edge. So, if you'll notice the design of it is skinny and then it widens out. What that skinny part does is gives you a surface to glide on, and then the wide part keeps the piece of plastic from slipping on in. So it's a little bit tricky working around this camera, so you guys just have to bear with me for a second.
I'm going to move it back just a little bit.
All right.
You're bumping.
All right. Come on. Come on. Get in there. Hang on. There we go. Now, I've got the piece of plastic up in there. It can't go anywhere. What did I do? Oh, okay. I hit the light. Sorry. All right, guys, I'm trying my best. Now, I want to slide it up in there. And that piece of plastic is going to help me keep it from damaging it. And there we go. Now, the seal is all the way in. Well, it's almost all the way in. Let me get a screwdriver let me get something that's not so sharp, like a screwdriver, and push up on that. Okay, there we are. Now, we'll pull our piece of plastic out. We can discard that.
Well, hang on. Can you save that and use it for the next one you order that doesn't have one?
Maybe, yeah, that's probably a good idea. So, listen to the woman. Just make sure your bearing surface is clean. We're going to put a little bit of this assembly lube in there so it don't start up dry. And also put a little bit on the lip of the seal so it doesn't start up dry. Yeah, boy. All right. I need to swipe it around good on that seal as well as the bearings. All right, we're going to get our rear main cap back in. All right. All right, that won't fall out. All right, I want to just bump this up into place to get it seated. There we are. All right, this is the part where everybody on the internet's going to freak out. I'm not tightening them all the way down. I'm just zipping them on so I can get them with the torque wrench. Okay. Good enough. Or close enough for government work. How about that? Velcro makes these little things called snap-ups that holds the gasket up in place while you're trying to put the pan in. But they don't include them with this gasket for some reason. These came in a gasket set for a Chevy 350. So, but luckily enough for me, they actually thread into this. So we're going to use them to our advantage. So what we're going to do is just slip that up in place. And what these will do is help make sure that the gasket is where it's supposed to be. Make sure it sits down in this groove right here in the back. Now you can see a little bit of sealing on here, but that's because I've already had this thing installed once. There we go. Now it's up where it's supposed to be. Now we can slide our pan in place. All right, let's get our oil pump reinstalled before I forget it. Thankfully, Wendy mentioned that a while ago, that it looked like something was missing. So make sure that you engage the oil pump drive shaft and slip her on home. I think that's good enough. All right, now we can put the oil pan back on.
You sure?
I hope.
Okay.
All right, now that everything's completely out of the way, look how easy that oil pan goes in. All right. Okay. Is it sealed up front? Okay.
That's good.
We are gonna slip a couple of screws in there to hold it in place. Come on. There we go. All right. Now with those snap-ups in the back and 2 bolts in the front, it's held in place good enough for me to get the other bolts started. Luckily, Wendy saw that I'd forgotten to tighten this bolt up before I got everything put back together where it would have been a nightmare to get to. So, luckily, I can still get to it. All right, we're going to install this new transmission mount that we got from Ironman 4x4 Fab. Andy was nice enough to send this out to us. And we're going to use this to hold up the exhaust for right now. There we go. There, now, that ought to hold it up, keep it from falling down on me. Okay, let's get the track bar hooked back up. And hey, look at there. That was much easier than normal. All right. All right, guys, I'm closing the video out now. thanks for hanging out for so long, honestly. If I've got 4 pieces of advice I can give you guys before you attempt this job, number 1, clean it up. I've harped on it since I started. Clean it up so you won't have to put up with the aggravation that I did of everything you touch just covers you with grease. Because the thing about it is usually if you get upset at a project, you just want to go in the house, sit on the couch, do whatever, go hop in your car for a drive. You can't do any of that when you're just completely covered with grease. So just let that be the biggest lesson of all. The next one is take that bottom starter stud out before you try to get the oil pan out. That makes it so much easier. Clean up all your parts before you put them back in, because that makes it a whole lot nicer when you're reinstalling clean parts instead of reinstalling greasy, grimy parts that you should have cleaned before you got started. And the last thing I'm going to warn you guys about is that once you do this job, the next day or 2 or 3, you're going to have what I call post-repair drips, and that'll be oil that's coming out of the transmission bell housing, because I mean it's been slung around in there for probably years, so it's going to take a little while for it to all work out. Either that or wait for it to congeal where it don't come out, or wait for dirt to get in there and stop it up, whatever. But for the next couple of days you're probably going to have another drip there. Don't freak out. It's normal. It's going to happen. Just give it about a week at least, and you know, if it's still leaking then you know you probably still got a problem. But you know, usually after 2 or 3 days it's over with. So again, thanks guys for watching. Thanks for hanging out for this extra long episode. Thanks for watching me freak out, as you saw in the beginning of the video. I hope you guys got a good laugh of it. And the next thing we're going to tackle on this thing is probably valve covers. And I know the water neck is leaking coolant, so I am going to fix those 2 things because they really need to be fixed. Then after that, hopefully we can start doing some fun stuff with this thing. So thanks for watching. Tune in next time and see what we're doing with it.